point. She fed him on the way over, gave him the information, because what he regurgitated today, and I haven't even met him. He'd been in town since last night. He came in. I didn't run to meet him or anything, and he was here this morning. Bobby called me, but that was the first time I saw him when you saw him.
My last point, because we have to get on the road to back up to the as you all know, Brother Felix is getting married tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Congratulations.
But allow me to say this, please, because one of the most salient points that Al Sharpton made today was, in not talking capitalism, and not even talking business, but in terms of saving lives. See, the whole issue you raised with Katrina was saving lives and saving lives. You save lives because Katrina doesn't happen with the proper precautions.
Sure.
And you save lives because the people who make the proper precautions, you save their life by giving them something to do. That's an ace in a hole. All across the country, before the Obama campaign, the only thing that was on the news, in the paper, online, was a crisis in black boys. Philip Jackson out of Chicago with the Black Star Foundation. We've lost a generation of boys. We're prepared to lose another one. This is a conversation that was all across the country, as quiet as kept as across the world, because Bahamas has the same issue. Africa's got some issues too. So the fact of the matter is that we've raised this issue of our boys, our kids are at risk. They're the lowest performing subgroup in school.
Right.
They perform not on par with, but lower than special education. So when we pose an alternative, you know what? Nobody else is rescuing and reconstructing our communities like we can. Right. So we're not just talking about voting capitalism. We're not talking about signing an agreement just so we can fatten up our pockets. We're trying to save the lives of our kids and build our communities. So I dare you to come out against our communities. You're not coming out against me as a contractor. You're coming out against me and saving my community and building my kids and saving our lives.
So let me say this before we conclude on this, because one of the things that we can use Al to do is that he can organize the marches. So if we need to march in a town near you to get national media on that march, and this is a new cry for Al, because now he's talking about economic parity, and we are, you know, the statement that he made today was very apropos in terms of where we are as a people. This is not the Black Power movement. This is not the Civil Rights era. This is not the hip hop era. This is the Obama era. And I say that because this is the time where you postured to have the first African American president or female president. So that's a whole new mindset. That's why McCain was quick to grab Condoleezza Rice. Now the old guard would never think of bringing a Negro, you know, as his running mate.
Did he do that officially?
No, he was making overtures.
Oh, okay.
He was making overtures. So because like what brother said here, they said, well, we can't beat them. Let's be inclusive, but let's include them on our team. That's why he propped up Condoleezza Rice. And what did the Reverend Rice say? Colin Powell? No, I'm not gonna say that. Colin Powell's a great man. He spoke very well of Obama. He spoke very well. And they tried to get, and he told him for Obama not to denounce his preacher because he fed it. But the point is this: it looks like you don't have enough evidence to make a conclusive argument for or against. But I think what we do is we keep the verdict out. That we are in the official paperwork, and I wish I had it here so I could get everyone to sign it, which is in my computer, and I may be able to do that because I have it. Yes, sir.
You going to make some kind of comment before everybody leaves?
Yes.
My thought is at least it ought to go on record that we're thinking, but we haven't made an exclusive decision, but if there is going to be a position that in PLA that we take a position that we're going to have to negotiate it, and it's going to have to include things that are going to put our members to work and hire our youth that are. So
I think we don't want to give. I think yes, sir, brother.
My question is, why does it have to be their PLA?
That's what I say.
Well, that's what I mean. And that's the reason why we want to use the general statement. Do you have a copy of that I sent you about PLAs? Did I send that to you, Sister Florence?
The project agreement.
The Contractors Association questions PLAs in their current written form. Now, when we leave that out there, then we're not giving out any details about what we want and what we don't want, because it has to be tailored to your community. Right. You know, you may not have an apprenticeship program, and your unemployment is off the Richter scale. So you may need to get folk jobs so they can get trained to become contractors through the ranks of the unions. So that may fit you, Brother McKinney. You know, where in California we have a state apprenticeship program, it would abolish us as a state. This facility here doesn't exist. You know, and so that's the problem that that's why we have to say in their current forms, and that's a negotiating tool that each and every one of you can use in your respective communities.
Brother Hamid,
yes, ma'am.
In reference to what you just said, we see evidence of this creeping across the nation. There's a brother in Chicago, Eddie Reed, who has a program very similar to what you have here.
Right.
And it falls under the aegis of supportive services. There's a brother down in Peoria, Larry Ivory, who is the chairman of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, has a similar program. Somewhere within the construct of the Illinois Department of Transportation, they've decided that it's a propitious moment for them to take the supportive services programs away from these two brothers and people like them and put them into the city college structures, especially downstate Illinois, south of I-80. Now, that's not going to work because most of the people in those programs are brothers and sisters who have been incarcerated. Some of them are fresh out. Okay? And the people who would be running the programs at the college level are white women. To me, you know, it's good to come to things like this because you get the information, get a better sense of what's happening nationwide. And if it's here on the East Coast, it's creeping, on the West Coast, it's creeping towards the East Coast. Chicago is the next jumping off point.
That's right.
And then it will go all the way east, and before you know it, we will not have any community level training facilities except those dominated by the unions. And the reason they want to do this is so that the unions will have complete control, and they will be able to limit the enrollment.
They can continue to discriminate you by having the cousin, the brother, the uncle, and the unions, which is the un-American way, is that they hire their own, and they mean that literally.
Right.
And so what we're saying is that then you have no bargaining tool. You know, so it's good to have open shop, merit shops existing in a society alongside of the closed shops. And so I think that the official position is, and you're going to be back down, I'll have a copy to the board here before we get back, because you brothers are staying overnight, and we're going to probably recreate at 5 o'clock. But I'll print out I think I have a copy of it, the National Black Contractor Questions PLAs. And some of the arguments are there. We can add to it, we can subtract from it, but I think the big strongest point is, and that's where the ABC is writing on it, and that's the reason why Gaylord was quick to write a check. Not so much because they were looking for us to come out in support of them against the PLAs, but they also were impressed with the fact that because when the Gaylord people came here, that we had a facility and we had something to offer, and they believed in that. But they are too negotiating their own deals. And what labor did to me was got me on the phone and read what they said about you, about, well, we have to deal with them because they, you know, they're you know, even though we're being extorted by these black leaders in these communities to hire their unskilled people, but we still have to deal with them because it's the right thing to do, or yada, yada, yada. It was something of that nature. So the union was playing dirty tricks. They were telling me what they were saying to them, and then basically prodding us. And so the point is that for the first time, we're at the seat of empowerment. We're at the seat, we are empowered because we have a national voice. And standing along with Al Sharpton, or some of the likes of them, that's going to basically hobolt the National Black Contractors Association to come in and negotiate and get privy to some of that information. So what do we have to offer? What do we have to offer in terms of a PLA? If we basically put together the concept of a PLA, it's because we want these corporate citizens, Marriott, to know that it's African Americans that are going to be staying here, that we will boycott you. We will put you off because the National Black Contractors is asking people of color and women not to stay at the hotels that we've been excluded from participating
Right.
in. So whether it's effective or not, we take that same approach.
Right.
So not only the boycotts before have been by the civil rights movement. Now we're boycotting for another reason.
Economic parity.
Economic parity.
When do you want to make this? How much time do we have before you want to make an official statement?
Well, let me just ask before you answer that. And the other thing is part of that is that I'm going to go with, you live in this, I make whatever you want to do. But my thing is, why can't we make a stronger statement? Why do you don't want to?
Whatever statement we make, I just want to know when do we want to make it.
You mean a stronger statement? What do you mean by a stronger statement?
And I mean by that is this, and one is to protect, because my thinking is eventually it's going to, the other side is, and the union's got all the money, they got the votes, and these Democratic elected officials are going to support whatever they say to do it. My thinking is that they're going to be marching on with what they want to do, and that is to eliminate programs like this. And my thinking is that we need to give a strong support behind you and programs like this to keep it alive.
I see.
One, because you're hiring the people that nobody else is going to hire in these labor unions. And part of it is that we're creating, if we're going to have a PLA agreement, it has to fit saving programs like what you have here and putting our people to work.
Well,
So I'm just thinking somewhere it ought to be that we come across that we're not anti-union, but we want to make sure that our voice is clear on how we feel about it.
well, I think one of the
making
things
sure we're
I think one
protected.
of the things that we can do is
Nobody else
basically
like the roles.
we need to, before we make a decision, let's put them on the hot birds, put them in the hot seat, bring them before us and tell us why should we support a PLA. Not they've had this perspective, but you sit at the table, you negotiate. What is the PLA going to do for us? Just the presentation in the panel was informational, but when we sit down and we talk to Artie Barnes or the national heads of the labor unions, and we say, what is a PLA? What is the benefit of a PLA? We want them to say what's in it for us.
I mean,
And the same thing with overshot.
I can appreciate that, but it puts us in a position where we're operating from a junior partnership. So I think we should be proactive, and I think we should say we support a project labor agreement that does this.
Okay.
And we get our support behind it. So that's what I'm saying. We write our own project labor
right.
agreement that works in our benefit, and
And
we
then
have folks
negotiate.
sign
I got
up. You get it, and you
I've
have
heard you. I've heard you. You said that 3 times, and it take me 3 times to get that. That makes a whole lot of sense.
And please, in California at least. And at least in California.
Well,
Let's utilize. No. My point is that I'm saying at least in California, one thing we have that I don't know if everybody has is we have the second most powerful person in the state of California looks like us.
Yeah, that's the black gal.
Karen Bass is now the Speaker of the Assembly.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so let's not forget. We don't elect folks.
And that's why you want to bring Karen Bass and Mr.
That's exactly what we want to bring. We want to look. The victory is not just in you getting there.
Right. Thank you.
What you doing in it?
It's what you're gonna do once you get there.
What's your legacy when you leave?
And see, sometimes look. Let's use history as a frame of reference
Okay.
and as a resource. The civil rights movement, and even to some extent the Black Power movement.
Mm-hmm.
The problem and why it was co-opted as early it was because folks didn't know what the prize was.
Right.
People thought you was fighting for jobs, and so once people got hired, I got my civil rights.
That's right.
Because we didn't define what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't define it. We don't need to be subservient or a junior partner to anybody. That time is over.
Right.
We have the wherewithal, we have the talent, we have the capability, we have the courage, the
That's
audacious,
good.
and the political might
Firm,
to
strong,
make it happen.
clear.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I ask, whatever we're going to put out, I'm cool with that, and we're going to craft it. My question to you is, how much time do we have so that we can put together our best thoughts?
Right.
And that's going to
Well, you
require
got,
all of us going back to
the
where we
old
come
saying,
from.
the old saying is you got to strike when the iron is hot. These questions of PLAs are going to, with the Gaylord situation, if they move on Gaylord, and once the ink is dry, it's irrelevant about what we think about PLA.
That's why we need to.
And with the city of San Diego Community College District, they may be holding off on moving toward a PLA at this point because of the sensitivity of the Black Contractors Association in San Diego local.
Then let's go to what?
Go ahead.
That's what, see, I wish I had more time. I truly do because this is so unbelievably important.
We're here. Let's do this here.
Can we do teleconferencing because this issue? Look,
We definitely need to do that.
And the first thing is my last thing. I'm gonna get out of here for real.
No problem.
But I know that some folks, meeting quarterly is like too much for some people. meeting monthly is out of the question. But in times of crisis, I don't think you can meet enough.
Right.
And so I know everybody is busy. So the question is not can we afford to meet? It's can we afford not to? And so when everybody goes back to their respective,
there's some other conferencing that we can do. I think phone conference.
Call in.
Yeah.
We have to call in to teleconference every 2
Are you
days.
familiar with how to using that too?
We can set all that up. They set it up. We can all talk every 2 days until we come to some kind of resolution. We have to be. Look, while we're talking about this, they're talking about this.
Yes, right.
And we have to. And look, we have to work twice as hard as they are. And nothing has changed.
Right.
So if they're meeting on it every 3 times a week, then we need to be meeting 6 times a week.
Oh, and believe me, they are meeting on it.
So then,
well, it's about it's for California. And the other thing the other take on this, San Diego has a 20% labor union force here. 80% of the San Diego market here is the open shop or merit shop. So we have different issues here that you may have there. But what we want to think in terms of is the national model, national concerns. What's good for San Diego has to be good for Louisville. So when we make a decision, it's going to be beneficial to Louisville and not detrimental or detrimental to Chicago, because what's going to happen is that the United Black Contractors Association is going to lose its credibility in fiber with their community if they are a part of a group that's anti-union. You follow me?
That's
so I mean, you jeopardize.
You tailor it though, that you give the flexibility.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why we have to. That's why I think that what we're looking at is that we have to deal with our own crafting of our own program.
And Brother Kenny's not going to craft anything that's going to put him out of business.
Right. Let's do this, and because once one believes that the strain, the chain is no stronger than its weakest link, and so once that happens, then we're losing some of the energy, and I'm going to be respectful of your time, and Brother Otis, Brother Felix, congratulations, man. I regret that I couldn't be the one to get rid of you. But Johnny's going to do that for us. He's going to be down now. Tomorrow we're going to have Secretary Bonner, Department of Business and Transportation, and is going to be our keynote speaker. And this place is simply fabulous. It's a jazz supper club, very expensive venue, but it was only befitting for you. And so we're going to conclude at the gala with Lakeside doing the entertainment. In the meantime, what we will do is put the position paper in front of you, add, subtract. Let's make it official, and we'll get everybody's signature. If you have to send the signatures electronically, by sending a Xerox copy or email copy, then we'll cut and paste and put it on the document. It becomes our official statement. And what we have to do is find out when it's prevalent. Being a national organization, we can make the statement in Sacramento. We can make the statement in D.C. We don't have to deal with it in front of our city hall, or that nobody hears about, because you're not a part of National City Hall. It's town next door. Or you're not a part of El Cajon City Hall, so it only gets to be El Cajon news. You got to understand that what we're doing today is not Chicago news; it's national news.
That's right.
So we are still going to make the news locally, statewide, in our own jurisdictions, in our own backyards. But you got to understand, you just look at when you started protesting, Marvin, and how much the press comes out now. Pretty soon it's like that anti-bannering, that bannering stuff. And shame on Simper. You don't even see it half the time, right? But the first time you're like, what the hell is going on? That's where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and conclude. We're gonna have to get some of y'all back to the hotel. So how many roll with you, brother?
5.
5? Okay. Who all rode with Doug? How many you got in your room? How many you got in your car?